just one moment. I believe we should be live right now. You make sure what's happening with our Rumble. Rumble's being crazy. Just a second. Rumble's going to give us a hard time, but you know what, guys? Guess what? We're back. Okay, we should be live now on Facebook. So this is the first time in days since we've done America's Mom and the Mister, because quite frankly, we have had parasitic trolls who continue to try to shut down all of our content over and over and over and over and over again. They are psychotic and they need mental help desperately. If I don't believe in the red flag laws, but I would believe in it for those people, because they are those kind of people. Like, you just don't want them to have any access to guns. You don't want them to have any access to anything that could have life altering consequences. They are so demented. So that's why we haven't been here, because our page got taken down again. And coming back from all of that, it's challenging. It's only challenging because you're like, there's 50 other things I want to be doing that I think might be more effective than this. But at the same time, I also know that I don't, Neil and I, we don't have a filter about the truth. We're always going to tell the truth. We're always going to, we actually don't go into rooms and get stacks of cash, in case anybody's wondering. Never has happened. I mean, I looked for it after I heard that happened to me. I looked around and was like, maybe I had a blackout. Maybe I hid that stack of cash somewhere. I should really look for that and try to find it. But to no avail. There was no stack of cash, so that was disappointing. Other things I've learned about, we've learned a lot of things about ourselves in the last 100 days. Because amazingly, our account was taken down right at the time that I left for Belgium to go cover the uh, Alliance of Romania at the what's it called, the European Union. Okay, so we go to the European Union the day before I leave. Social media gets taken down, which is kind of a little bit nerve-wracking, wouldn't you say, babe? Because if you don't have access, like, people don't know what's going on, then anything can happen. So I was a little perturbed, because I'm like, great, it's kind of your security blanket. People know where you are, they know what you're doing, they, in a good way, like all of you guys. And we didn't have that, and that was gone. So that was very uncomfortable. And while all that was happening, I learned a lot about the Mister. Now, you guys brace yourselves, because I've been married to the Mister for 27 years, and I learned things I did not know. And the problem for me always kind of comes back to, if that's what Neil's been doing, why has there been no deposit in our bank account?
If
I
I've got
learned.
this hidden stuff going on, man, I'm not getting paid for it, and I should be, doggone it.
I
Uh,
mean, of all the
so
people who should.
the ongoing joke has been, you get up in the morning and you're like, all right, let's check and learn something new about ourselves today from the
I'm
daily gossip.
fascinated. I'm
So you
fascinated.
learn something new about yourself every day. But I don't
Yeah.
really want to repeat the matters. I mean, it's
Well, one thing that's troubling me. Hang on though, and your mic is. Make sure your mic's coming from your headset. One thing that is troubling me is I've been endowed by social media to have all these skill sets that come along with being a part of these certain agencies. And I'm just waiting for that to kick in. Like, I should know jujitsu. I should know how to take somebody down physically. And apparently that programming has
There we
not
go.
kicked back in. Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
That's that. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. My programming has not kicked back in. And so I'm disappointed about that. I would like to figure out the trigger word that's supposed to initiate that. If somebody could get on that, because when you're part of, when people tell you that you're a part of these agencies, you expect, I want to know the controller word, but you're my controller. So you should know what that word is. I'd like for you to employ that so I can, I'm wondering about these mad skills that I have. I want to know what skills they are, right? The agency endows certain skills, doesn't it?
It's two taps on your left elbow. Get you every time.
Okay.
No, and honestly, hopefully people that are watching and listening don't even know what we're talking about, because it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so beyond, ridiculous and so stupid. I just don't care. I don't care. I mean, it's not that I don't care. I don't want to say that. That's just kind of a wall.
It is a
But
wall because
I do care, but I don't. What I don't care about is people that gossip and spread gossip rather than going to the source. And I will tell you this: that Colorado is full of insane people that are called Republicans and that call
Mhm.
themselves conservatives. Some of them even call themselves grassroots. Let's go, grassroots. Let's go after these other conservatives and let's get their Facebook page taken down, grassroots. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so silly while they're in a complete drunken stupor. And I've told many of them
Hi.
they need a
Hi, also.
serious parasite protocol, parasite
Mhm.
cleanse. Heavy metals have gotten to their brains. I think some of these ones have secretly gotten the jabby jabbers, probably numerous
Sorry.
times. And I
Mhm.
do think on a very serious, that is a serious note. And also on a serious note, I think there's an evil spirit in Colorado, and it is very much alive. And and this did not just in regards to us, but this was with that whole movement, the coup against Dave Williams,
Oh,
and
man.
when Ron Hanks ran for CD3 for Congress, and the vultures, the worms, and the parasites came out of the woodwork and just
Yeah.
started spewing their hatred and
It
their
was
lies.
crazy.
And they took their directions straight out of the left wing satanic
Yep.
playbook. And
Mhm.
they just start, they don't have dialogue. They start screaming and shouting, and it's whoever shouts the loudest, the squeakiest wheel gets the oil. That's what they're hoping for. Now it doesn't work for them because ultimately they just end up looking stupid, like many who ran for the Colorado GOP
Mm.
chair. They just end up looking stupid when they start feeding into the gossip, spreading the rumors, telling lies. And then
It
so
was
I
worth
think,
it. Hope it was worth it. That's all I can say.
I hope it's
Hope it
worth it.
was worth it.
And for those of us that are on the receiving end, the question always is, how much attention do you give it? At what point do you respond?
Mhm.
And at what point do you just ignore it and just move on? And we are really good at, and for a number of years, we've been very good at ignoring and moving on from these
Mhm.
things and just saying, you know what, God is going to be the ultimate judge in these
Cut
matters,
you
and He
down.
knows the truth.
Cut you down.
And and also people that are reasonable and that can think, they will be able to see through the complete insanity of what's going on. So that's where we're at. But yes, there's been some very nefarious things going on, and things that I won't even talk about here. But that includes the page being taken down, and,
Yeah.
and people think we don't know what's going on. We know what's happening. We know who's behind it. It's just a matter of playing things out strategically and
Yeah.
letting things be exposed over time. And
Mhm.
we don't, we're not going to react and do what they do. We're not going to react the way that people are acting toward us. When you react, you're just doing what they're doing. It's the "I know you are, but what am I" kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, here we are dealing
Well,
with it
so
as it comes.
yes, and so one thing I do want to say before we get started, I want to ask everybody to please hit the like button on whatever platform you're watching right now. Please hit the share button on whatever your platform you're watching, and hit the follow. Okay, we're going to bring you guys content that matters to you, that is important to you, that'll make you laugh, that'll make you spit your food out. Like, we're going to bring you good stuff. I need you to like, share, and follow. You have to like, share, and follow. We have a lot of rebuilding to do in a really short amount of time, and so we really need your help, to be quite frank with you. It takes people listening and sharing, and that's just how it is on social media. And we really do need that right now as we're building back up for efforts that are beyond us, but that we want to contribute to, we're going to be a part of. We really need your help. Two things I can assure you of. One, we're going to be bringing in some really, really great sponsors as soon as we hit a certain milestone. We need to get back up to where we were before on Facebook at about 40. I think we're at 43,000 followers. We need to get back up there fast. So we've got to reclaim our original audience, and then we've got to grow back up to where we used to be pretty darn quick. And we are committed to that because you guys, so wherever I go, people say, well, I don't know who I should be listening to. We're not going to cover everything. There's too much to cover, but we're focusing on the things that we know we can make the most impact on a local level, and then the things that matter the most on the national and the international scene. So sifting through that and figuring out what to share that's going to be meaningful to you guys and what you want to grab onto and do something about. That's where Neil and I are at. I'm very, very excited to let you guys know that Neil is actually going to be dialing in on health on X America News on Tuesdays and Thursdays at it'll be 2 o'clock Eastern time. So that's 1 o'clock. I believe that's correct. 1 o'clock Central time. And so you're not going to want to miss Monday through Friday on X America News on X, right? On X, head over there on X. Usually, not today because today we're here with you guys, but we did a little bit earlier because we were making the time adjustment. But Neil is going to be hosting his own show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, all focused on health. And I'm very, very excited for you. This is your passion. This is what you love doing and talking about. And you've been on such a wild, wild journey. And with that, that's number one. Number two, and it's going to be amazing, you guys. He has so many connections that we never bring on because, quite frankly, you don't even have somebody in the health world come on and talk to them and you not know what they're talking about. And my head is really in policy and politics. I know the health stuff, but Neil is submerged in the health stuff. And so it's going to be really, really fascinating, awesome conversations. Dr. Ohlers with Safe Blood, definitely want him to be on with you. I want him to be one of your first guests because that is a fascinating and perturbing conversation with him. We just had one on X and it's devastating what these mRNA shots have done. Number two, if I could just say, I want to give a shout out to our amazing sponsor. Feel free to interject, babe, when it seems right. Our sponsor has taken a massive risk the last 5 years and really stepping up to be America first, American manufactured right here, and putting American workers first, while also creating products that were toxin free. Don't mess with your hormones. They're not what they call endocrine disruptors. And, before their time, even they are consumable. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to do anything harmful to you. And they're only going to provide a clean and safe environment for you and your children. And I want to talk about them because I think some people just really don't understand that the majority of things you're buying from Walmart, Trendy, Target, these big box stores, even your little local perfume, all these things that we buy, even so this is an example. This is the hairspray that a lot of people use. This stuff is so toxic and disgusting. I'm sorry that it's sitting next to me, but I've switched everything. I'm switching even more things every day that it didn't occur to me to do to our American manufacturer. And I want to invite all of you guys to do the same. There is multiple categories with this company. They've been around for 40 plus years. It's a conservative Amazon. That's what they are. With over 500 everyday use items, you guys. I get these messages, even mints, like even your bird mints. My supplements that I do not live without. This is my morning and my evening pack. This is and it is amazing. If you guys wonder how do I go, and Neil, poor Neil, go, and we do this live, it is because we are supplementing with the right things. We live a healthy lifestyle and we keep toxins out of our home. So from toothpaste to the best shampoo, and I'm not just saying like a check the box toothpaste or a check the box shampoo to say we offer that. No, it's amazing. It's incredible. All of the cosmetics, all my skincare, I've made the shift over to my American manufacturer. So I want to encourage everybody, you guys, get over there and get on shopwithpatriots.com. One of our great patriots is going to reach out to you and help you join our club. Please stop saying that this is not for you. It has everything you use every single day. It's clean, no hormone disruptors. All you over 40-year-old ladies, you should not be using anything else but my company, period. And I'm not even going to be shy about it anymore because I see all the things going on with people, their health problems, their health restrictions. And I'm like, so much of that would be cleaned up if you would use safe, non-toxic products. And that's what I'm offering to you. Go to shopwithpatriots.com. Go check it out today. You can lose weight. You can feel awesome. You can eat healthy snacks that don't have tons of chemicals and oils that turn your kids gay. Like, we can do this, you guys. We can do this. You got to join us. You're going to love it. And you're going to be talking and working with us directly as we build up this incredible, incredible mission-driven team. That's what we've been doing. So I want you guys to be a part of it. Shopwithpatriots.com. It is on the bottom of your screen right there. Go check it out. Okay. Done with my commercial rant. Did you want to interject? Did I say it all?
You got it.
Okay. Well, last thing. Well, I lied. One more thing. In this crazy economy, you guys, where things are booming and thriving, I want to let you know we are looking for 2 more advertisers to come alongside us on America's Mom as we are blossoming out in the world again, and be a sponsor with our show. So if that's you, if you're interested and you think you want to advertise with us, you want to start joining our team and start promoting your business on our site, on our platform, we want to work with you. So I want to invite you to shoot me a message or send me an email. We're only going to be taking 2 additional sponsors. That is it. So it really needs to be something that aligns with us and makes sense, and will be a great fit for both parties. So keep that in mind. Message us or send us an email, and we will see if we're going to be a great fit to work together. So, okay, enough of our updates there. We do have a third grandchild coming, though, in case people are wondering, like, what have you guys been doing for 100 days that we haven't talked to you? Visiting our kids, visiting our babies. And we have another baby that's going to be born the end of May. So we are very excited about that. Lots of babies. I mean, babies and family. That's where it's at. The Mister is going to be a grandpa times 3.
It's crazy.
And I'm very excited about that. And by the way, one last thing. I'm sorry. But one last thing. I didn't even tell you this, but I have my grandmother name picked out finally. Do you want to know what it is?
Sure.
I was sitting on a plane and we were about to land in Istanbul. And I am sitting next to this guy. He's a grandpa and he's showing me all the pictures of his grandkids. And he's like, and they say, he was telling me, he says, and they say, Booney, Booney, Booney. And I'm like, is that your name? He said, well, it means grandpa. And I was like, what is grandma? And he said, Bunika. But if you want, you could just say Booney and that would be granny. And you could do that. And I said, that's it. That's my name. So my grandmother name is Booney, if they're just like can't talk very well yet. And then it will be Bunika when they can talk really well. And that is Romanian for granny or grandma. So there you go. I bet you guys have never heard that granny name before. So feel free to adopt it as well, because that's my name. That's going to be my name, Booney.
Wow. Okay.
I know. I forgot to tell you.
All right.
I was very excited,
We'll
but we
take
had
it.
to put together things.
We'll go with it.
All right. Well, I love seeing people jumping on. It's so exciting because it's been a minute. So I love seeing
Mhm.
everybody on here. Drop a comment. Let us know how did you live? I don't know how we lived for 100 days. I don't know how we're doing it, not getting to talk with you guys, regularly at least. So glad to see you guys.
Well, and so much has happened during that time, and there's so many things going on. It's hard to know. It's hard to know where to begin. But one thing that probably ought to be discussed is what happened to Hitler. I thought Hitler killed himself. I thought the whole thing about Epstein didn't kill himself.
No,
Now it's Hitler didn't kill himself. So
I don't know
there?
Nothing
I've
we
been
learned at school is true. Like
yeah.
nothing. Nothing.
Well, there's a lot of truth. I would say it this way: there's a lot of truth in the textbooks that are where it's manipulated, and there's all kinds of lies mixed in with the truth to convolute things so bad that we really don't know what the truth is. But some of the things they just come out and blanketly tell you, like, and Hitler killed himself. I questioned that many years ago, and I heard the whole Argentina conspiracy theory many years ago. But now it seems that it's true.
Well, hang on. I'm going to show you what the Google has to say before you share about that. This is what the Google has to say. Okay. This is what Google is still saying today, even after Javier has released the documents saying otherwise. In spite of the disinformation from Stalin's government and eyewitness discrepancies, the consensus of historians, what historians? Because over in Europe, they've always known Hitler didn't kill himself. So I don't even know what historians are talking about, but here we go. Some explaining the limited forensic evidence is due to the burning of the body near the ashes. But guess what? The skull that was supposedly Hitler's, they've known this entire time it was a woman's skull. Dun, dun, dun.
So maybe Hitler was a woman, for all we know. But hey,
Except for that, they say he sired 2 girls.
well,
Okay.
yeah, no,
Hang
yeah.
on, you guys. Hang on, because this is going to be really funny. Hang on. Let me see if I can make this happen. I should have done this beforehand, but I didn't think about it.
He supposedly had
Um,
some very odd fetishes.
well, I don't know if you're allowed to admit that you read Mein Kampf, but I did read Mein Kampf in middle school. Now, I didn't really know what I was reading. It was very convoluted, but I got enough out of I'd heard there were certain passages in it, so that's what I was looking for. And it just I don't know. I didn't really know or understand political talk at that time. So I'd have to go back to read it again. But I did read it. I don't remember thinking that there was much going on, but look at this. Look at this. You all have to see this. This goes into Neil's conspiracy. Ready? Look at this, Neil. Who is that? Guess who that is? Guess who that is?
Yeah,
That is,
that's what is her name?
it's right there. Angela
Oh,
Merkel.
Angela Merkel. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm,
Uh,
mhm,
crazy Merkel.
mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. She's been pushing all of the communist ideas. That's what all the LGBTQ, it's all about disruption. It's all about throwing, it's not about that they believe in LGBTQIA map. There's probably an element of that, but it is about the disruption and the chaos that it causes to get their agenda done. So while you and I are chasing after the latest drag show at a local college, they're actually implementing foundational changes to the world. I'm not going to stop chasing after drag queen shows a little bit, but they're doing way bigger stuff. So the conspiracy is that Angela Merkel is actually the daughter of Adolf Hitler.
Well, and
There,
the document that has been released, I've had it pulled up and I've looked at it.
Mhm.
It's from October 3rd, 1955, and you guys can look this up now. It's from Acting Chief of Station, subject Operational 1, specific Adolf Hitler. This was microfilmed July 26, 1963, where a former SS German trooper stated confidentially that Adolf Hitler is still alive. A friend, let's see, he took a picture with Hitler not too long ago, but did not show the photograph. He also stated that Hitler left Colombia for Argentina around January 1955. And then they even have pictures now that they're posting, supposedly, of where Hitler was living, the actual house he was living in. So
yeah.
it's pretty interesting and pretty remarkable evidence of this. This is not news. People have believed this for many years, but the news is that these are actual government secret documents that are being released now. That's what the news is. But if you've followed us or others over the last 5 years or so, you're not going to be too surprised by this stuff. It's kind of like finding out that our revered government officials and Hollywood actors have gone to Epstein Island. It's like, oh, big news there, right? But the
Yeah.
news was supposedly that the list was being released. And then the other news was supposedly that people were going to be arrested. That's the kind of stuff we're still waiting for. So I told you, I think the first thing I told you when this document was released about Hitler not committing suicide and living in
Mhm.
Argentina and all this stuff is, I think I said to you, will anybody care?
Yes.
You should care because it's
Well,
more evidence that you've been lied to. But it's like we all have TikTok brain. We hear something, it's 10 seconds, and then we're like, oh, no way, that's crazy. And then it's gone.
well, you know what? This might have a bigger ramification because France thinks it's so important. They have put out a piece for you to listen to. So listen to this. They think it's important. They think you're going to figure out something is going on, that maybe you're being lied to. Okay. So let's take a listen to what France has to say about whether or not Hitler is dead
I'm joined here.
or suicided himself. Sorry. Hang on. Sorry. Here we go.
Documents would prove that Hitler ended his life in Argentina. Tell us more.
That's right. Hitler's possible escape to South America, a popular conspiracy theory, has once again become a hot topic on social media after Argentina's Javier Milei recently announced that they would declassify all government documents relating to Nazi fugitives who settled in Argentina after World War II. Following this announcement, these viral claims started to spread on social media, notably X, where users are sharing this photo of new
There
documents.
it is. It's the one I was just talking about.
By Argentina's Milei. This user says CIA just confirmed in declassified Argentina files that Hitler left Germany together with this document dated October 3rd, 1955, that alleges that in 1955, a certain Philipp Citroën, a self-proclaimed SS man that shoots Staffel Nazi protection squadron, claims that Hitler is alive and just left Colombia for Argentina in January 1955. To reaffirm this testimony, Citroën attached this very poor quality photo to the report, in which he is seen with a man bearing a striking resemblance to Hitler, but who could also be anyone, or a picture taken at any time. As users continue to share viral videos, podcasts here, for example, seen over 8 million times, 8.6 million times on X, with more detail on this testimony that Hitler was alive and living in a Colombian city called near Bogota, surrounded by other Nazis, when alerted by the possibility of being discovered in this Colombian refuge. He reportedly decided then to escape to Argentina, having lived there for another 20 years, allegedly, according to the new documents released by Argentinian President Javier Milei.
And what have you found regarding this declassified document? Is it even new?
Well, this declassified CIA report on Hitler's is actually not new. It's not even a scoop per these claims on social media, nor has it been released by Argentinian governments. These documents had already been released in 2017 during the first opening of the JFK files, assassination files that were ordered by President Donald Trump at the time. Furthermore, in 1955, the CIA was already skeptical about this information coming from Colombia, as the CIA dismissed the matter actually many times. The first
Wait a second. She's talking in circles on purpose. Do you have any idea what she just said? She just said that Donald Trump released this in 2017, that Hitler did not die. And now she's literally doing like verbal ninja stuff right now. She's digressing what she just said. This was already released in 2017, but she didn't say but, she says, and then the CIA says that this, but literally she's making no sense. Are you picking up on that, or is it just
Yeah.
me?
Mhm.
So this is France. France is putting this out. So what I'm going to point out, this gal here who's sitting at the desk over here. So she's brand new, right? She's trying to decide if she's going to be a part of the French CIA or not, and she's really doing a terrible job. But she did. I mean, I guess she hit her talking points. This gal is obviously more senior. There's no doubt. She knew when to move the red X to make it look like this is not real. But then that's my point. She's trying to say this document's not real by putting a big red X. But then she just said it was released in a 2017 JFK dump by President Trump. This is a CIA document that was released in 2017 under the JFK filings. But she's trying to make it look like this is not a real document. This is what they do, you guys. This is a real document. It was already released. If she wants to say that, that's fine. That it was already released, that's fine. But she's trying to make it seem as though that's not an official document. Yes, it is. She just said it. They always have to tell you the truth, but you need to be listening. And all her little, stuff she's doing on there is not taking away from the fact of what she just said. It was already released in 2017 for the JFK dump under President Trump, exposing that Hitler did not commit suicide. And he went off to live his best life in the German community in Argentina. And by the way, I was just in Romania, and they all know this stuff. Everybody knows Hitler didn't die.
So it's common knowledge to them. Is that what you're saying? They talk
common
about it.
knowledge. Common knowledge, 100%. And then they were like, yeah, Stalin had the skull, and they knew it. Everybody's known it was female. Even under communism, they knew Hitler didn't die, and that skull did not belong to him, and that he went to
Yeah.
Argentina. There's a whole German commune, and the MMA fighter, I have a picture with him, but I cannot remember his name. He did a docu-series on this, on the German community, speaking German, living old school German, all blonde hair, blue eyed, living in the middle of Argentina. He goes down there and he like discovers, basically just exposes all of it for the people to see. And it was a great documentary. And let me see if I can find it real quick so people can go watch it because it was excellent. It was my first exposure to the potential that it was really true. So do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Okay, hang on just a second. You're gonna know when I pull this up. Hunting Hitler was the name of it. Hunting Hitler, UFC head.
Okay.
Yeah, Hunting Hitler was the name of it, and it was. I mean, I think it was really good. I thought it was really interesting. Let's see if I can pull this up for you guys. And if you get a chance, go watch it because now it means even more to know that he had a pretty firm grip on this. Again, over there, I don't think anybody was under any. Nobody's surprised over there. That they're just surprised that we're just now learning that Hitler did not die. He did not commit suicide. He went off to live his best life and supposedly sire at least 2 children. Obviously, he was the pontiff. He was the supreme. So maybe he had lots of children. That was his goal, was to have, to populate this this particular race. Although he didn't really even fit the attributes he was looking for. He was Jewish, by the way. And what I was told is that he actually is a Rothschild, and he was denied his birthright. That's what I was told this weekend. He is a Rothschild. Hitler was a Rothschild who was denied his birthright and considered a bastard, illegitimate. And that is what led to his deep hatred of, allegedly, of the Jews in the Rothschild Jews, right? What are they called? Ashkenazi, the Ashkenazi Jews.
The Khazars, yeah.
The Bolsheviks, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It makes me
So
think about
it's
so
interesting.
much, but I mean, what it makes me think about is Operation Paperclip, where that's no longer a conspiracy theory, and you can just look that up and figure out that they brought over all these German engineers and scientists and all this stuff after World War II. They brought them over to the U.S. and they started ruling and reigning in their little weird ways from over here. But it also makes me think about, like, the more and more this stuff comes out. All right, so we had the huge JFK drops where
Yeah.
basically it's showing that the CIA, sort of in cohorts or maybe being directed by Mossad, took out our president. And you see that. And now we're seeing Hitler was protected and his death was faked in order to get him out. It makes you wonder how many times this has happened and is happening right before our eyes. And because we just have been programmed by the television programs that we see, the news programs, that we just don't even question it. Why do we just believe the next piece of news that comes out, especially when it's some big name, so and so died? There are the Pope is sick with the COVID and is in the. I mean, I it's just, you don't want to just not believe anything, but you kind of almost do want to not believe anything, because if they're reporting it on the mainstream, it's becoming more and more clear that there's an agenda behind it, and it just flat out might be false. And so it just puts your sensors up there for sure about the things that we've been told and are being told right now, and the things that we repeat, and then we're all talking about it.
Yeah.
We're all,
Yeah.
did you hear so and so died? Oh yeah, the news said it. I don't know. Michael Jackson? I don't know. Kobe Bryant? There's some strange things. You start going down these rabbit holes. You're like, wow, I don't know. All I
don't
know
know.
is that the news reported it. I don't know. It makes you
So,
think, doesn't it?
well, in that vein, in that spirit, I think it's interesting to know what people who are like moving mountains and actually like accomplishing big things, they don't watch the news, they don't watch TV, they
Right.
don't watch Netflix, they don't watch secular movies. They don't. I mean, that's not what they're spending their time doing. They are reading actual books. They are focused big time on energy, on AI, on natural resource development. People who are really making an impact in this world are not caught up in these secular culture wars. So it's interesting. I'm having a little bit of a personal
It
challenge
is.
with this
I know.
because, most people live in the culture and that is a reality, but those who are shaping culture don't.
Yeah, the ones that are like living the movie aren't watching the movie. They're out living it, like your friend used to say from years ago. Be the movie. And I struggle with that too. It's funny because earlier today I saw all these Val Kilmer posts. I'm like, why is everybody posting about Val Kilmer or quotes from like Tombstone or Top Gun and that kind of thing? And I realized, I guess it was reported Val Kilmer died yesterday.
I thought he died a couple years ago.
No, they're just saying he died yesterday.
I feel like he died a few years ago.
Well,
Right after the Top Gun was made. You guys.
hold on. Nope. So they're reporting. So and now the first thing that came to my mind though, Sharona, what was yesterday?
April Fool's Day.
Okay. It just, I don't know why it just popped into my head. And then I'm like, I feel like we've been down this road before.
Yeah.
Sometimes people that die, it seems like they've died numerous times. Just
Well,
like you
that's
just
what
said.
I'm totally
I
serious.
know.
I swear, I loved Val Kilmer.
I know.
swear
Yeah,
that I read he died after Top Gun.
there's some nostalgic things about him. He was in some very, some of these movies that just are kind of timeless
Mhm.
and that kind of thing. So, of course, but all we know is that, it was the same thing when Patrick Swayze died. It was a very strange thing. Patrick Swayze changed so fast, and supposedly he had cancer and all this stuff, and then he's just gone. He's just off the scene. But
It's bad.
the only reason I bring that up is because we have been taught to believe what the authorities tell you and to do what the authorities tell you to do. We see, growing up, we saw as an authority figure Dan Rather, Peter Jennings, Walter Cronkite. They were authority figures. Now, come to find out, now I don't have the evidence to prove this. I mean, at least I can't go through it right now.
Mhm.
But many of these figureheads were CIA operatives. And now we're finding out that the CIA has been involved in movie making, in the news for decades and decades and decades. You guys, probably since its inception, that they've been involved in forming public opinion and social culture through television and through the news. And
Mhm.
so now we realize like they can decide when certain people die. I mean, it'd be like JFK. There's so many conspiracy theories about what actually happened on that day that JFK died. There's so many. You could go down whatever road you want. But it's true because we believe it's true. It's
Mhm.
true because
Yeah.
I mean, whatever happened that day, JFK was gone. And in the mind of the public eye and public opinion, this three named person took him out. Now
Mhm.
we know, I think most reasonable people that have looked at this can see that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And so, it's what happened because that's what everybody believed happened. So
They
if enough
agreed to
people
the
believe
lie.
it,
They
yeah,
agreed to the lie.
exactly. And it's been said that history is a lie agreed upon. You're told in school this would happen in 1952, and this would happen in World War I. This would happen with the
Mhm.
Civil War. You're told and told and told. Then you take a test, and you say, did you have multiple choice answer, and you get the right answer or the wrong answer. They tell you what the right answer is. There comes a point, and there's coming a point now in human history where we're all questioning whether or not the answers they told us were right are actually true. Whether or not the answers to put down to pass the test were true. And it's okay. I think it's a noble thing for people to step back and go, even the dumb things like, I don't want to say this is dumb, but I thought when I didn't know Val Kilmer. I don't really care. And I don't mean to be lighthearted about it. I don't care. He's not going to care when I die. I don't really care when he dies, except for that he was in the movies. But all I'm saying is, you question that. How do I know that he died? Because that's what they're telling us. And I
Yeah.
don't know with these things, if they're trying to tell us, if they're trying to get us to look one way, so we're not paying attention to the other way, what they're doing over here, or they use someone's supposed death, while they're passing legislation over here? I have no idea. But it's definitely time for us to start questioning the mainstream narrative. That's what I get from the whole Hitler thing. Even though you and I have been down this road for a number of years with him, and how all the oddities about his death and that he may not have died and all that. Now it's time for the public to start questioning, and then we can get the energy shift to happen to where we realize news figures are not authorities. Do you
Right.
remember what Fox News people said during the 2020 when Trump lost the 2020 election? They were on camera saying, why is the public even questioning it? We already called it. And as
Oh,
if it was Fox News's job to decide who won the election. They
oh yeah.
called it, and they were upset
So
that people
why?
were questioning it. Well, we
Yes.
called it, as if
Yeah.
Brett Baer is an authority figure. No,
Mhm.
he's just a pawn being used to put out information to either distract the public or to make us believe something that's not true. And I don't know if he's doing it on purpose, but we're beginning to learn that these news figureheads are just being used by whoever's controlling this whole thing, social culture, news narratives, and all these things, to put out information so that everybody will go, oh, wow. It's like, they're the little mother bird and they have the worms, and all of us little baby birds come and say, oh, yay, wow, feed me, feed me. And that's what we do with the news and with these authority figureheads. That's over. I hope it's over at least. I can't believe there's people that still watch that stuff. That was
Oh,
the
you know what's so just that was you're
Disappointing is that I've been using
full time.
I think that's better. Let me see.
Yeah, it is because someone just texted me, your microphone sounds like crap. I'm like, oh, whoops, should have checked and made sure I had
That's
the right.
better. Yep, that's better. But we could still hear you, but it wasn't great.
Well, feel free to tell me that. Thank you
I
for who
did.
texted me. You did tell me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, somebody texted. Thank you oh, you did. It was you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, here's the thing I want to point out, though. Eventually, time has a way of exposing everything. And we had Shane Stevens on, who is out of the Houston area. His grandfather was one of LBJ's supporters, a big bankroller at that time. And the audio recordings, we had Shane on, and we're going to be having him on. We're going to spend about the next 6 to 8 weeks just kind of breaking apart his family story and what happened there and the powers that be. I want to always give credit to Ed Dowd because I still think it's the most amazing thing, kind of revelationary, I think, this idea of a conspiracy of interests rather than necessarily these cabals. What we see in the CIA papers is that a lot of people wanted to kill JFK. But at the end of the day, there was one person who said, kill him. And that was Lyndon B. Johnson. At the end of the day, it was Johnson who said, do it.
And it makes you wonder who LBJ was being controlled by.
Well, here's the thing. On the audio recordings, I don't think he's being, I think he's being controlled a lot by his flesh.
Oh,
Personally,
okay.
massive ego, massive ego. He says, do you understand? In the recording, he gives the reasoning for why he wanted to kill John F. Kennedy, a sitting president of the United States of America, because he had embarrassed him. This is a quote. He had embarrassed him for the last time. He had embarrassed him for the last time. And famously, Richard Nixon said the reason that LBJ was president and not him at that time was because he said, there are things I am not willing to do that he is. When it all comes down to it, at the end of the day, we're going to see that, yep, there was the Mossad, there was the mafia, there was LBJ, there was Protestants, there was all kinds of organizations that wanted to kill. There were countries, Austria, Australia, Cuba. Everybody wants to kill John F. Kennedy. But at the end of the day, it was LBJ who said, do it. And he
Yeah.
knew he would be able to get
Yeah.
away with it.
And incredible, there's really incredible similarities between JFK and DJT. And because, JFK, as far as we know, as far as our understanding is, he was not a moral man.
Mhm.
But he, for whatever reason, it's like he just couldn't quite keep himself under the thumb of the controllers. He couldn't keep himself under their check. And he started to become, to me, just listening to which I have. I've listened to his last speeches. I've read through them, and you start to get the idea that he was breaking free from whatever matrix was sort of holding him in. He was breaking free from it. And there are certain entities that just won't allow that to happen. And I think it's the same reason why they've tried to. I mean, we could go through it. We don't need to, but just the unbelievable attacks against
We
DJT.
should.
And
We
it's
should,
not
though.
it's not because DJT is because people need to understand this. He's not a moral man. He may be now, but he has not historically. He's lived a billionaire's lifestyle. He's lived a very, very unique, interesting, and also immoral lifestyle. He just has. Now, was he rubbing shoulders with Epstein and things like that? I think at some level, he was rubbing shoulders with everybody on a business level.
Right.
And is he the husband of one wife and a faithful man and all that stuff? He wasn't. And this is something we've talked about quite a bit, that there are two DJTs. There were likely two JFKs, meaning there's one warring against the other. These people aren't much unlike ourselves,
Right.
where we're confronted every day with decisions to make and which way we're going to go. And we've seen it in our circles. We've seen it, especially in Colorado, where people that were good, I mean, they flip and it's like they're a freaking demon now. We've seen that happen. That's because there's two of them, and it's the demon one. And I think it's the same thing with when you're looking at DJT. I mean, the people that he's surrounded himself with aren't always great. The people that he's probably has owed money to aren't great. The people that have had some level of control over what he does probably aren't great. But the thing about him is that we love is that when you look at him, and I think you got the same thing with JFK, at least for a time, is that he's his own person. And at the end of the day, he's going to make his own decisions. And at the end of the day, that there is a part of him that wants to save America and wants to reveal to the Americans what's truly going on, and really does believe in freedom. And that's what we love about him. And we love the fact that he's, as far as we can see, he's brought himself out from under the control of the demonic controllers that control this realm that we're living in. And we want him to expose it. Now, he's got freaking, at every single corner, he's got a battle to fight that people would not believe. So the frustration that people are having, like, here's one of my frustrations.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Before you go into Donald J. Trump and this what you're going to talk about, can I just give some hope to the people who are listening right now about JFK? And what ended up prevailing was his upbringing. I mean, I just want to just a second on this, because it's the same thing with DJT that you're talking about, these consistent parallels between them. No, not moral when it comes to women. No doubt about it. You can't even argue that. Okay. It's not debatable. Like, no, so immoral. John F. Kennedy was having affairs with everybody. Okay. They were bringing in multiple girls all the time into the White House, in addition to the more public romances he was having. This guy was probably what we would, I don't mean to speak ill of the dead or, whatever, but, they have organizations now for people who are addicted. He liked women a lot. Okay. So we got that. But here's the thing. He comes from a bootlegging family. He comes from a dad. First of all, they're Catholic. So right there, that's a strike against them. Secondly, they're bootleggers. So they've already bucked the system. They've already recognized when government is trying to tell them what to do, and government is completely overstepping their authority. They've already done that. They've already kind of established that rebellious, I think that's a healthy rebellion personally, because when a government tries to tell you what you can produce and what you can't, uh, no, his dad instilled those things in them, but then he also instilled massive family loyalty. And actually, I think that was more established by his mother. Joe Kennedy was not a faithful man either. This was a thing about the Kennedy men. It was expected that they would be having affairs with everybody, but they would always come back to their original landing, which was their wives. And I know that I'm not even going to qualify it. I don't get it. But I know that for them, it was maximum loyalty to one another. And so you've got loyalty, you've got an organic rebellion of government, because you can't live That's how they built their wealth, was by bootlegging. So you can't live if government's going to control what you're doing. So they grew up with that understanding. And then you've got DJT's father, founding member of the John Birch Society. If you're not a member of the John Birch Society, you probably should be. It's not a radical organization. It is a constitutional organization that fully understands the proper role of government and fully understands what the government's been doing all these years and the policies against humanity they've been implementing in America and abroad. So he's a member of that. He's establishing founding principles with his son. DJT is watching his dad, an immigrant, come to America, build an unbelievable life against all odds, learn how to work with the mafia, learn how to work with the government, learn how to work with the Irish, learn how to work with the Italians. Like, you talk about having to understand the art of the deal because you're working with all these different people and you've got to find the common interest between them all. I just think, we've met a lot of politicians, Neil, you and I, and they are largely, unimpressive. Every now and then, when they either have a military background, maybe, or they've come from a really strong business background, they're much more interesting, and you can feel like you can really get behind them more. How much more so Donald John Trump, who never, who learned how to be a really great politician, but he did not ultimately abandon his own personal values around freedom. Everybody's got their turning point. And it looks like, if we looked at the history of Donald Trump, it looks like the turning point for him was the same as many Americans, September 11th.
Yeah, he was the first voice to come out basically on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been the day after, and say, boy, those buildings, that's strange. They don't just fall by themselves like that. That's really odd.
He specifically said that looks like a demolition.
Yeah, it looks like a demolition. Wow. I mean, he's done that so
on
many
some of the
times.
buildings. Mhm.
He did the same thing with the cold vid when that came out,
Mhm.
and he said he was the first one to say it was a hoax, and then he had to backtrack. I don't know why he backed. Why I do know why he backtracked. He had people around him that said you can't do that.
Mhm.
You're going to get completely ripped apart and shredded by
Mhm.
the massively programmed people in the world who
Well, don't you
will absolutely not agree with this.
don't you think Big Pharma too? I mean, right? They've got all kinds of reach.
I mean, everybody, all the controllers in the world would not let him go down that road. And I don't know how many times his life has been threatened in a real way,
In a
but that
day.
may that may that may have been one of them, where it was like, are you sure you want to go down this road? And so, throughout the time, throughout his tenure as president, while he's having to deal with this, now we know the conspiracy theorists were true. This wasn't some random virus from a bat. This was a very controlled mechanism. I think numerous mechanisms that they used to commit this a crime on the American people. But while that was happening, DJT was dropping hints to the American people. Remember when he supposedly got the cold vid, and he
Mhm.
said, it wasn't that bad at all. He said at the
Yeah.
time, he says, I used Regeneron, whatever that is. And
We still need the scoop on that.
yeah, I think he mentioned HCQ. He may have mentioned ivermectin at that time, but he's like, that's fine. It's fine. And then he kept saying, he's doing his daily COVID update to the press. And every day he was just
We
tearing
watched
apart the
it too.
press. And we'd watch it, and he would say, we're looking at other therapies. There's other therapies for this and that type of thing. So,
Mhm.
so for whatever reason, he couldn't come out and just say this is a hoax and this is being perpetrated on the American people. He would drop hints, and I know people have a problem, and I do too, with the whole vaccine issue. That's another rabbit trail we won't go down today. But now, I mean, it brings us up to the similarities between him and RFK, and how much he's being
RFK or
attacked.
JFK?
Well, JFK.
I know you're thinking
I'm
about
thinking
RFK. I know you want to go there, but finish your thought
No, just
about.
the thought will finish up like this: that
Okay.
RFK was
No, JFK.
JFK was being awakened in his time to what was going on, and he wanted to wake up the
Uh-huh.
American people. Trump, I think, knows much more. I would venture to say knows much more than JFK knew.
Mhm.
And the Kennedy and the Trump family are very strangely intermingled and interrelated. I mean, that's another weird one too. But Donald Trump is trying to and has been trying to awaken the American people. How did he first do it? When he first got into his presidency was the term fake news that he coined, that has completely changed the trajectory of all news networks, everything, including Fox. It's basically shut down the news networks. If they weren't funded by, who I won't say is funding them right now because people get offended, but if they weren't funded by the controllers, they wouldn't be in existence. But he's done that, and he's done it time and time again. And now he's trying, and people are frustrated. I'm frustrated that there's no arrests that have been made. I'm frustrated that things aren't moving more quickly. And I'm not making excuses for him, except to say that there's a battle at every single turn. And there are specifically Republicans in the Republican Party who want to make sure that this guy does not accomplish what he's told us that he was going to accomplish, for the very reason that we would get frustrated, his grassroots movement would get frustrated with him and separate ourselves from him, and then hire back one of the mainstream politicians that we've been used to in the back. Let's get somebody from the Bush family back in.
Oh
I'm
my
sure they'll make a
gosh.
difference. Let's get Mitt Romney in there to do something.
Let's
They
let
want us to
Karl
get
Rove
frustrated.
make our next
Yeah.
pick
Oh my
for
gosh.
us.
Yeah. These
Mhm.
terrible household names that most of these people need to be arrested, tried for treason, and whatever happens after that. But
Mhm.
hopefully things are happening now. But I
So
do
wait,
think
wait,
the last thing I'll say though.
No,
Last
no,
thing
no.
I'll say.
I don't want you to say last thing. I want to expound
No,
just a
about
little
this
bit.
issue.
No, I think this is important. Karl Roves. So Karl Roves being supposedly just an absolute brilliant strategist for the establishment, whatever that means. I don't know what establishment means to them, except for like you just said, which is uh, what is that called when you're there for? Hang on, I got to think about the phrase they use. It's like internal knowledge of the inner workings of it, because you've been there for so long. You have internal knowledge of the way things work. And Karl Roves is that person. And what I understood, what I've learned about him is he really has been the strategist behind the establishment, and kind of like a woe to them that go up against Karl Roves, because he will serve you
Rove.
up for dinner every day of the week. And unless if you have a diabolical mind like he does, good luck. And I think that's where people, me, myself included, you guys, like the world we live in is not the world these people live in. It's
Yeah.
not. I mean, sometimes Neil and I have sat there and just been like, what just happened? This is not our life. What is going on? And it's this, you've got an upper king, like I think about the Mormons tree. You know how they have like the different levels of their kingdom?
Yeah.
Literally, I think that's what's happening, like, really in our world. So
Oh, it is.
that upper
Yeah.
level, it's them, it's the elites,
What
and they trickle down.
didn't Trump say something about changing the name of District of Columbia?
Yes, to
The
District of America.
District of America. Now that's important to what you're saying, because you don't know how right you are when you say they're living in a different world. They literally are. These people that are living in DC that are the full-time politicians, it's literally a different world. I don't think we actually know, most of us know what it actually is, except that it's not the world we live in. It's a separate world. This District of Columbia, it's a totally different world, and something happens to these people. They get red carpeted, they get pulled aside, and they get told, "Now you're something special.
Ah, so special.
You're over here," and most of them are funded by
Hey, Pat.
entities that I'm not going to. Well, there you go. I mean, yeah, we'll just say
Sorry.
that. No, that's fine.
Oh, no, my mic fell right when I said that.
Okay, that's probably good. And people are freaking out, but
Just
I
kidding.
mean, it's no conspiracy theory that 90% or more of our Congress is controlled.
America's
There you go.
second, okay? At least everybody acknowledge America's second,
Yeah.
right? America's second, if you're owned by a foreign country and then you establish dual citizenship and they are giving you hundred thousands of dollars for your campaigns, America's not giving you hundred thousands of dollars for your campaign. Who are you going to be allegiant to?
Yeah.
Just use common sense. It's not conspiratorial. Just who are
use
you gonna
common
be
sense.
more? Yeah, I'm
And
more.
yeah. And how
I
do they
don't know what to
become?
say.
How do these Congress people become millionaires in 2 years? You know, I don't know. It's strange how the money works over there too, isn't it?
Crazy,
Yep.
crazy.
But when we say they're funded by a foreign country, and where people get offended is they think we're talking about biblical Israel. We're not talking about that. There's two different things here, you guys. So just we got to keep an open mind about these things, and we need to see things for the way they are. And the only way that the the system is going to work for the people, for we the people, is if the system comes crashing down.
Mhm.
And the only way I think for the system to come crashing down is for it to all be exposed, and then for the people that are the evildoers in this whole system is to be exposed and then held to account. And that's what we're hoping to see. And I'm still hanging on to hope in that regard. I know that ultimately God's going to win and that these people will be exposed. I would like to see that happen soon, and I would like to be. I'd like for we the people to be a part of it. And maybe
Okay.
that's
Well,
what we're
here,
waiting to see is if
what did we
enough
what did
we the
we
people will
learn?
step up.
Yeah, but what did we learn? What we learned today that a lot of the cabinets are still being slow walked into actually voting on the new cabinet members.
Yeah.
So the EPA, do you guys realize the EPA is not going to be voted on until September? So all of these environmental nonsense, all the Green New Deal crap across this country is going to continue to play out at least until November. And then when they get the new EPA head in, guess what? They've got to deal with all the psychopaths that have been hired under the Biden and Obama administrations and deal with all of them. People, we, because we don't live in a kingdom, and because there really is no magic words or whatever. I mean, you can't take a magic pill and everything just be back to normal. You're dealing with decades of bureaucracy. That's what they mean by bureaucracy. This layering and layering upon layering upon layering of this internal knowledge. I've got to think of that key phrase. Steve King talks about it a lot. But this internal knowledge of how to keep the system in favor of the elite or the
Yeah.
globalists, because they still remember the biggest agenda here is a one world order that has not changed.
Yeah.
And in fact, the uncoverings that we experienced, that we learned this last weekend, the research that was done this last weekend, all of that only demonstrated even more that they're going after every single nation state to cripple them into compliance with the new world order. And it's not, it's just the way that it is. And so the fact
Yeah.
remains, as much as we want everything to change, you need to be on the .gov site, the whitehouse.gov site, so you can see what is happening. Go read original information for yourself so that you're not frustrated. When I get on the
Yep.
whitehouse.gov site, I immediately like go, oh, okay, that's what they've been doing. Everything is being documented there for you so that you can read it and see it and know that President Trump is doing all he can. But your Senate, your US Senate and your House, they're pathetic. You know what they spent their weekend? You know what? Let's do it. You know what they spent their weekend worrying about in the last several weeks, months, worrying about? Whether or not mothers who've run for Congress can have proxy voting from home. Yeah, that was the win yesterday.
Oh my
Brittany
word.
Pedersen, the despicable representative who looks like a little Barbie doll. So I guess we don't get to talk about her. I don't mind that she looks like a Barbie doll, but she's crazy. She's crazy left wing lunatic out of Pueblo, Colorado. She's the representative, the congressional representative for that area. And unfortunately, she tag teamed with Lena Paul Luna. And I'm sorry, but if you've had a baby in the last year, you really don't get to make constitutional changes. Like there's so much data. I'm going to say I'm the girl, I'm the woman. Listen, and I've had 4 kids. I was not in my right mind for at least 2 years after having each child. Okay. So for these two women to have collaborated together to make this a nonpartisan issue is really disgusting. And I'm sure nobody stood up to Paulina because she's scary and she wears stiletto heels and she's very beautiful also. So you're not going to see men being like, "Oh, Paulina, you're out of your mind." Yes, she's out of her mind. She was out of her mind. They did the wrong thing. They've set a horrendous precedent that's going to have unknown impact. And I'm waiting to see if Speaker Johnson's going to make a really serious statement, not just they got bullied into doing it sort of statement, because I do think there's going to be unbelievable ramifications for this proxy voting that they have just done to literally change the way that Congress acts according to the Constitution. They've subverted the Constitution with this ruling. And Brittany Pedersen, let me tell you, this mother of a young baby, which yay for her. I'm glad she's having. I love babies. She gets on Twitter and says, "Don't F with mothers." That was her statement after they decided to pass the proxy voting. I'm just like, you guys are disgusting. You've influenced the Constitution. You've made a constitutional change, and that's what you put on social media for your constituents to read. So classy. So classy. These are the people who've been selected to run the world for us. They're disgusting, most of them.
So in
So,
that regard,
mhm,
and you mentioned that, now so the only thing I was going to say about what you said earlier about we're not living in a kingdom, but
mhm,
in some sense we are, and I think that's the battle right now, the battle to save the republic, and I would say
mhm,
the battle to bring back the republic, because I think the republic was hijacked. You can go back to 1933, and you can go back to 1913.
yeah,
You can see where some of these things started, but um, it's the battle to restore what should be here. It's the duality of the United States of America is that we live in this dual system. One is the corporation, which is really much like a monarchy, which these people think that they're rulers and kings over us
yes,
and that we're the peasants. But really, the true United States, going back to its foundation, is a constitutional republic. And that's based on the rule of we the people, and it's based upon individualism, and each one of us is the king over his own life. And as long as we're doing what's morally right, we don't need a government. It's really what it's based on. So I think right now, and you look at what Trump brought in Elon to do, which is a whole nother rabbit trail to go down, whether or not, I mean, Elon's weird, and I'm not making any moral judgments about Elon. I'm just saying what Trump brought him in to do was to
yeah,
effectively break up into pieces this this monarchical system that's been formed against the people that we've paid for them to rule over us. And the problem is, look at the demons that Doge has brought out. They're the people that want to be enslaved. I don't know what it is, 15, 20, 25% of the population. They want to be
yeah.
governed so hard that they're
Shoot,
coming out screaming
we need merch.
against this. Yeah. Oh my goodness. To say,
Govern me harder, Daddy. Govern me harder.
please govern me.
Mhm.
Like I can't live on my own. I am a slave. I must be told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it, all that kind of stuff. I want to live in a smart city. I want my gaming system and my TV and my little tiny apartment. And I
Yes.
want to have a curfew, and I want to pay my
And a check.
taxes
And a check that you get every month.
and a
Don't,
check.
I can't make any money. I
Yeah,
can't make any money or I won't get my check.
right. I won't get my check, all that kind of stuff. And so maybe for me, it's way too slow. But the excitement that I'm seeing is like every time, $500 billion cut here and $500 billion cut there, and this agency and that Department of Education coming down, hopefully the IRS coming down, the FBI being exposed, and and who knows? I mean, every single huge government agency needs to be completely, uh, you know, people need to come in and take a look and
Yep.
make cuts and all that stuff. But part of that, what's really happening is saying this has been up here ruling over us, we the people, and as the more they break it down, the more it comes down here, and the more the people have to rise up and go, oh wait, I'm in charge of my own life. I get to make my own decisions, and with that comes responsibility.
Yep.
The fathers never foresaw a nation where everybody could do what was right in his own eyes, moral or not, and be
Mhm.
free. They never saw that. Freedom to them was the freedom to do what's morally right. And they based that moral rightness on biblical teachings. They really did. And so that's a free nation. It's people that are free to do what's right. And the people that live morally and are doing what's right individually and then obviously collectively, they don't need to be governed. It's amazing how that works.
And
The
they
ones
don't
that
need
want to
to,
be governed are the
yeah,
ones that aren't doing what's right. They
yes.
can't even make their own choices. And when they do, they're off, marrying their goat or whatever they're doing. So yeah, they need to be governed, and they need to be
Yeah,
governed pretty hard, apparently, because they can't
apparently.
make it. They won't even survive in a free society. They can't. They can't survive. Anyway,
We do see that happen.
yeah.
We do see that happen. But I also would say, I would just add as a point of moral authority, and I am going to judge this, is it's impossible to have genuine, real freedom without guns, period. You cannot have genuine, real freedom without guns.
Oh,
And
geez. Yeah.
it's just
Amen.
it is impossible. The founders had thousands and thousands of years of history, of real experience, of documented government over, not just overreach, but you guys, I mean, just think about, we're not learning real history in America anymore. So it'd be really helpful if people and we should be posting up some of the books we're reading. We'll start posting those up, and do what you want. We'll screenshot, put it up. You guys do what you want with it. You need to be reading real history. You really do. And just remind yourself of why we live in the greatest nation in the entire world, because our founders, they did all that research. They weren't divided by TikTok. They weren't watching YouTubes. They weren't watching Reels. They were reading books. They were hearing repeated history. They were looking for the avenues to make sure they could have the most production possible. They're incredible men. Every one of the signers, the
They were
56,
being the movie. They
they
were
were being the
living the
movie, and they were incredible men. They
Yeah.
were absolutely, they were willing to lay down their life, their property, commit everything they had in this world to the reality of freedom. And they knew, seriously, you guys, you cannot surrender your guns. You cannot surrender them. And people will be like, well, yeah, but your guns can't fight drones. Stop. Was what Biden was saying, right? To try to make people feel like they have
That's
no
just
control,
fear.
they have no
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do a lot with very little. Americans have always proven that. So maybe we have gone a little bit long. Maybe I can leave
Yeah.
us with please feel free. And then I want to end with the Trump's words on our elections, because
Yeah.
we just had two very serious elections yesterday that went terrible.
Yeah.
And it's not because of President Trump.
Yeah.
The numbers don't make sense. It's all bull.
Yeah. It all goes
Um,
back to local, doesn't it?
mhm.
States, cities, counties, it all goes back to local. And Trump can't just wave a magic wand and fix that all. People got to come
Yeah.
in and fix it. But I gotta before you start that, I got a rule as well. But I just want to remind
Yeah.
folks, if you're not with us yet
Mm.
with our American manufacturer, shopwithpatriots.com. Fill out your information. It goes straight to us. We'll call you. We'll get you on board. We'll show you around. And it's really cool. So shopwithpatriots.com. All right. Good to see you.
Stop funding our enemies, you guys. Stop funding our enemies. Stop. You have an alternative that is way, 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 way better. Stop funding our enemies, please.
Nice
Stand
to
with
see
us.
you.
All right, guys. I'm going to end with President Trump.
And it's so easy to do it. And we should go to paper ballots. We should go to one-day voting. We should go to voter ID. And just one other thing, proof of a thing called citizenship in the United States. Wouldn't that be nice? How simple does that sound? Proof of citizenship, voter ID, one-day voting, and paper ballots. You know, paper ballots are very secure. They have watermark paper. It's very intricate stuff. It's very technologically advanced, even though it's paper. And you'd have no trouble. You wouldn't have dishonest elections, and you'd have them all done by 10 o'clock in the evening. You know, France went to that, and not that I want to copy anybody, but many others have also. And they had 38 million votes, and it was all done at 10 o'clock. They had a winner, they had a loser. That was it. Nobody was complaining. And they had it backed up with paper. And it's so easy to do. The other thing, you'd save about, this would cost you about 8% of what the machines cost. So the paper would be much less expensive. So if you're looking to save some money, that's a good way to save it. So it's a shame that we've gone through it. We've gone through a bad election, really bad election. The election was so bad. And think of it. You wouldn't have had the October 7th disaster with